stuck in my head.
Okay, there it is.
Can't.
I was really curious how long you were gonna go with it.
It's a good question. I could have gone a lot longer. It's unfortunate for me. I have, after this movie, Santo and Johnny's Sleepwalk just permanently burned into my brain, and doesn't matter how many other songs I listen to, it's just like it's there. It's gonna be this way for like a month.
There's a lot of music in here that is very recognizable, I guess, of sorts. Like it's unique to this movie, because I don't even think that is. What were you were texting me one of the songs?
This song.
Was it that song to see if I if I watched the movie yet?
Yeah. It was definitely Sleepwalk.
Yeah,
by Santo and Johnny.
Yeah. So anyway, so we saw Sleepwalkers.
Yeah.
So I think I was worried very much about this movie, whether I'm not going to end up liking it. But... And then you were like, no, I think you might say WTF maybe a couple times, but
yeah, it's gonna happen.
Like I think you're gonna end up liking it, and I think you nailed it.
I did it.
I was pleasantly surprised. Like this is on a lot of lists of being a bad movie.
They're all wrong,
and there's way too much fun to be had with this movie.
So much fun with this movie.
There is totally a lot of WTF though.
Yep.
Like I think if anybody who's seen the movie knows when you would say WTF for the first time, and it's in my notes like repeatedly, like I'm all of a sudden in The Shining doing repeat. It just goes WTF, WTF. Like what is happening? No.
Well, thankfully, one of those scenes, even one of the characters yells out, "What the fuck?" And it's just like, yeah, right? That's exactly the right reaction. Every time I watch this movie, I like it more. It's just goofy fun. It's a good old monster movie.
Yeah, and I have to say, too, the as much as I was like, oh, man, this movie, oh, man. But when it gets to, and there's a few times, too, throughout where I'm like, you know what, this really isn't bad. And then really the first horror moment, and we can go into it later, but the first horror moment, I'm like, I'm in. I'm in. That was great.
There you go. All right. I'm excited now to talk about this movie with you, buddy. I didn't expect
were
it.
You worried? You were worried I was going to come in here and taking a dump on it?
You know, not everybody vibes with Stephen King Mick Garris joint. It's always going to be just a little bit like goofy at times. Because totally. That's just how Stephen King rolls, and Mick Garris is like, yeah, let's go for it.
I mean, so much so, they even have King in here doing that. Being a goof.
Maybe my favorite Stephen King cameo.
I really enjoyed it.
He's ever done. It's really good.
I thought it was good humor to it. I don't think it was pulled off. Like, I don't think it was cringy at all. Because I think you could make this easily go, oh, yikes. And I never really felt that way. I thought a lot of the camp and over the topness at times were pulled off. Like it had its goal and it accomplished it. Like
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think it did anything where it was doing exactly what it set out to do.
Yep. And
so I think I don't think you could watch this movie and be like, ugh, yikes, because it's what it was going for, and it never did it in a way that was like, oh, it didn't stick the landing there. No, it sticks the landing.
Everybody's in sync in this movie. From director,
everybody's
writer on
making
down.
The same
it's
movie.
Perfect. It's great.
Yeah. This is the what's his name? The guy who plays the son in this movie.
Brian Krause.
Yeah, I've seen him do a lot of awful stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't think of one other thing I've ever seen him in.
Charmed.
And he's... Oh, I never watched Charmed. He's phenomenal in this movie.
He's great.
He is so charming in the beginning and everything like that.
Yes.
He's outstanding.
And I've never seen the woman playing our lead actress or hero.
Oh, Machen Amick. Welcome to the club, buddy.
But she's also great.
Oh.
And charming.
One of the most gorgeous human beings ever walk this earth.
I was just kind of blown away by like almost everybody in this movie. Just
Yeah,
kind of
the
nails
cast is out of this world great.
And it's amazing that Mark Hamill is not credited.
By choice, but yeah.
Credit yourself, Mark. I was pleasantly surprised. And I was also like, wow, because this is kind of definitely post Star Wars by a good bit here, and he's already done other things. But like I already thought, like, because he's like already done like the Flash playing Trickster and stuff at this point.
Sure.
But I thought he was in better looking shape in this movie than he ever did in the Flash show. So I was kind of like, dude was looking good in this little cameo appearance.
Yeah, no, he is looking good. So should we get into it? Because I
yeah, we're kind of jumping ahead. Let's get into. So it's my pick, and so Sleepwalkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me try to
explain the premise.
So there is this ancient group of animal feline type things that are referred to as sleepwalkers, and basically they get their sustenance and long life from sucking the life force out of virgins, and they move from town to town to keep their identity secret, and now they're in this new small town and they have their new sights set on a new young virgin teenager, and that's the premise of the movie.
Boy, they just missed out on the incel crowd. They would have cleaned up today with these Gen Zers who like are afraid of nudity and sex. But yeah, that's basically it. So
it is a very I want to say clean, but clean's not the right word. It's not clean at all, but I mean like it's tight.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fat.
No, none.
In this movie.
It's a good 90-minute movie.
It really keeps the pace going. You get the gist of everything. They do not give you a whole lot of depth, but at the same time, everybody's doing such a good job with their roles that it's not really necessary to add more.
It's stunning. Stunning. We never got a sequel. Absolutely stunning. But yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends. You'll tell me later how well this movie did and if it made money or not. I don't know.
It made money. I'll tell you later. But yeah, it made money.
So I guess it is kind of surprised it never got a sequel. Maybe just because there is some stuff in this movie that is quite uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Our hero is high school student Tanya Robertson, played by, holy shit, she's pretty, Machen Amick. Well, you know, you first spotted her in Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me for a split second there, Tim. She was working at the diner. Yep. I told you about her. I'm like, we're going to meet her again, and you're going to you're going to go nuts.
Don't even quite remember her, although
she only had one scene.
Movie, so.
But like, let me, man, this show, Twin Peaks, the quality of women on this show, just absurd.
Yeah.
In a cast, like the three like main ladies in it, right, are Machen Amick, Sherilyn Fenn, and Lara Flynn Boyle. And Lara Flynn Boyle is probably, out of those three, the least attractive, and she's a very good-looking woman. Right. It's just like the whole time you're watching, everyone is so good-looking on this show.
In this small town.
In this small town where everyone is acting so weird.
So I didn't do a deep dive of the actress here who plays our hero. Why wasn't she a bigger thing? Because I don't really know her. I thought she was great.
Beyond puzzling. I don't know why she didn't get more big stuff. I guess she just made some wrong choices, you know, and things didn't work out, and maybe she missed out on some parts.
Because she definitely, it's a really tight movie, so it really does a lot of work on and we'll get to it in our villains, but it definitely does it gives a lot of screen time to our villains and really tries to let them shine and make them sympathetic, but we'll get there. So she's not given a whole ton, but she shines every time of what she's given. She's incredibly charismatic and fun. Like, even when you get her in her job at the movie theater and she's fully dressed and all that kind of stuff. It's not scantily clad or anything like that. She really is fully dressed the whole movie. and so it's nothing like that. She is definitely gorgeous and very pretty, but she's like, I'm having a blast watching her do a horrible job at cleaning in her job.
Yeah, no, okay. So the character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, just real quick, Machen Amick. Yeah, I mean, she just kept on popping up in movies that just didn't hit. So she ended up doing a lot of TV, and I don't, you did see her in a few episodes of Californication.
Okay.
She was
that show a lot.
I think she was
the earlier seasons.
Yeah, I think she was in the second season.
That's when it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, she was in that Trapped in Paradise movie with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, she was the girl working at the bank.
Okay.
Yeah, but like, things that she was in that like on paper should have been big hits just didn't work out, and she ended up getting stuck on TV. And honestly, still a great looking woman, and I would definitely sign up for more of her in the world.
Someone needs to Quentin Tarantino her.
Yeah,
resurrect, bring back.
Mm-hmm. So Tanya is a National Merit Scholar, president of the photography club, a cheerleader, and I guess participated in a science fair at some point. Not sure how she did.
I guess I didn't get all those accolades. I definitely caught the photography thing. She works part-time at a movie theater. And she seems to have a good group of friends who like to tease and poke fun about her kind of, being a little, I don't know if prude's the right word, but she's, she doesn't get around.
Yeah. Well, all this information I just gave is coming straight from the yearbook photo.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And, yeah, most importantly for this movie's
is this
sake,
at the beginning as our villain is kind of like, Tanya?
Yeah, exactly. Most importantly for this movie's sake, she is a virgin.
Yes.
And inexplicably, because, good looking woman.
Well, I mean, hey, looks doesn't mean, right, that you can't be a virgin, but you would think that she would get a lot of attention.
Well,
that's for sure.
It's not just her looks. We know this girl is definitely DTF, so it's at least with our lead character.
Or at least until she meets this boy.
Yeah.
She's ready to go when she meets this guy.
So we first meet Tanya working the late shift at the local movie theater while she's alone. She decides to clean up the popcorn by listening and dancing to Do You Love Me by the Contours. And
great.
It is just goofy, sexy fun because, like I said, like she's wearing like a polyester uniform. The skirt is down below her knees, but she is just having a blast, being goofy and sexy at the same time, dancing to this song.
Dancing like no one's around.
Exactly, like no one's watching.
Like no one's watching. Yeah, but it's just good. Like you can't help but crack a smile as she's doing this. I'm also kind of cracking a smile because, like, wow, she's not doing anything cleaning wise. Like nothing is. Like I know those stupid little like self-propelled vacuum things that you get at the movie theater are terrible to begin with, but it's like, man,
absolute garbage.
That is not picking up anything right now.
No. She gets interrupted in this dance by Charles, our villain, who is looking for a popcorn and a Pepsi. Because it's a Stephen King joint written. It's a Pepsi.
Did not realize that. Okay.
Yeah. Stephen had a big thing for Pepsi. Yeah.
Okay.
And their meet cute is just adorable and charming.
Really is. Actually, like almost every scene with the two of them is adorable and charming.
The actors
because both of them are just pow. Like
phenomenal chemistry for the two of them.
Yeah. It's like Rocky where they're just like full blow contact back and forth. And somehow everybody's standing.
Yeah. I love the scene later on where Charles goes into her bedroom while they're talking and walking around the house.
He drives her home. Yeah.
Yeah. And like she is just freaking out behind his back when she realizes that she has underwear all over the room just laying around.
Yeah. All over. I always
the
find
looks on her face, she's panicking and looking so good.
At first, it's like, why is it just her underwear?
And no other clothes.
It's not clothes and bras and all that. It's just her panties. That is it.
And no, bras too. Bras were hanging off the bed.
I didn't notice the bra part. I thought it was just all underwear, but it's just like, man, it's really weird that this is the only thing that's just random. And one time, one of them is on top of a tall dresser too. It's like,
the panties are there. Yeah.
How'd you manage that one? I know my 8-year-old can manage that one, but You're in high school. Like, this is weird.
It's something to look forward to, I guess.
She pulls it off. Like, the looks on her face that she gives, like, it's comedic timing and it works, and she's really good with it.
Yeah.
And you can't help but smile.
Very expressive face. Just she's absolutely panicking, and it's so funny.
It's great.
You got Charles and Tanya set a date to a picnic in the graveyard where
that's where it's good for photography, I guess. Or
yeah.
Good lighting and all that weird stuff. I don't know.
Those were her weekend plans to take pictures of the gravestones. And he's going to join to take some rubbings of gravestones. And when
I think that kind of comes off because of the mom. Because the mom's done it before. And that's how he made a connection to the mom, was because he's done that stuff.
Yeah, I was going to get into that more when we go into Charles.
Yeah, I just want to make it sound like you made it sound really random.
Well,
so I wanted to give it a little benefit to that.
Fair enough.
But anyway.
When they get there, Charles gets out his paper and charcoal stick and says, "Your mother is going to want to know some rubbing went on out here."
Oh, yes.
And Tanya quietly replies, "Me too, Charles."
And she gives an awesome look. Like, you verbally did it, but it's like a shame that no one can visually see because you did pull off the visual, because she does this thing with her face like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen. Like, yeah,
this virgin is DTF.
She's ready to go. Like, she's waited, she's found the guy, this is it, she's good to go.
Everything else going on with Tanya takes place really in action, but I wish,
because there's a lot of it. It takes a little bit, but then there's a lot of action in this one.
Basically,
you have been limited in.
Yeah, basically everything that Tanya does in this movie is in relation to Charles.
Yeah,
we don't get a lot of her by herself outside of like when she's dancing to the music. And I wish we had gotten a little bit more.
It's the bathtub when she's trying to get herself clean. I think that's the next time you see her alone. The only other time you see her alone. Yeah,
but she's like not talking or anything. But yeah, you're right. It's just nothing.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like depth to the character or what else we get to know, and it's fine. It's not that kind of movie.
I guess the only thing I would say is when she is alone and is like waiting for the cat, and we'll get to that later, and she's like basically survived a metaphor for a rape attack, basically.
Yeah,
or not even subtly, and she does a really good job of that emotion, and
she's showing the vulnerability and
that's another good moment from her.
No, Machen Amick is fantastic in this movie, and I wish we had more of her to do stuff by herself. It's my only criticism really of this movie is like, I wish, well, not my only criticism, but it's my major criticism of this movie. It's
such a good, tight movie, and well paced, but at the same time, it's like we could have fleshed this out a little bit more.
Yeah, like give me like
a bit more here.
5 to 10 more minutes of just a scene of her seeing her by herself before all this happens.
Right.
It's a shame that the first introduction is only just her just dancing by herself, right. But it's also such a winning introduction that I can't get too angry about it.
Because you kind of, I think it's actually the perfect introduction, I would say, because you're charmed by her immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So you're ready to go. I would say, if anything, maybe a little bit more scene stuff with either her friends or with her parents.
Exactly.
Would have been the way to go.
I agree.
And that would have helped out a little bit more. But yeah.
But that's all I can really talk about for Tanya. I don't know if you have anything more you want to get into. Because a lot of like you said is in action.
Yeah, again, it's pretty tight. I have a lot of the same kind of stuff. I get maybe a little graphic in some of my notes with how she wants Charles. I had a lot of fun with that. But yeah, that's basically it. That's all I have to.
What'd you give her?
I gave her a 3.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I gave her a 2. It's no fault of hers. I just wish there was more depth there. But we'll see how it plays
3.
out. We'll see how it plays out. Wow, I'm really curious to see where your rankings are now.
It's gonna be high.
Fascinating.
It's gonna be high. Yeah.
Okay. I felt I was too high, and I had to bring things down. So this is gonna be interesting.
No, I think it's gonna be high. I actually think it's gonna enter into the top 5. I think.
Well, it's definitely in my top 5.
Yeah,
no,
I think
actually,
it's going to be in my top 5.
Just out of it, I think about it. But
see, I have it in my top 5.
You might convince me that I'm like, it's safe to go up. But okay. Let's go into it.
I think people are crazy on bashing this movie. Like, yeah,
Tim,
it is insane. It is over the top, but it nails what it's trying to do.
My Grinch heart is growing like 10 times. You can definitely win me over to going higher on this movie. So
okay, it's funny, you hate the hate sometimes I give for some of your loves, like Firewalk with Me, but here I am to help you out.
I was not high on Firewalk with Me either. Anyway, villain.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow,
baby.
These villains. Oh my goodness. First off, I already have a soft spot for
Alice Krige.
Yeah,
Alice
mom,
Krige,
right?
sorry. Yeah.
She is fantastic.
Oh my god.
I fell for her as a hardcore villain, as a young man watching Star Trek First Contact.
Sure.
As
Borg
the Borg Queen,
Yeah.
and her being somehow sexy and horrifyingly scary all at the same time. And I was, oh my gosh, this woman's amazing. And I'm pretty sure she has popped up several other times as playing villains a lot. And she's great. And here she is again. I'd be like, man, I'm sad that I missed this. Like, I didn't get it till now because she's so good.
Is this your favorite Alice Krige performance now?
No, it'll always be First Contact.
All right, that's fair.
It got me young.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't like crazy young with First Contact, but I was younger, and I love that movie. It's in my, it might be in my top 3 Star Trek movies. Is First Contact, without a doubt, top 5. I can't remember if it's top 3 or
2.
Top 5.
Top 2.
It's 2 for you.
Oh yeah,
It's really good. So it's Wrath of Khan and then First Contact for you.
That's right, and honestly,
is 6 3?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a good top 3.
And you can make an argument that First Contact is better than Khan, and I would listen to it, but I'll always put Khan above it, just because.
I think, yeah, it's because of the nostalgia, and what it meant to the franchise and everything.
Yeah, you were 10 when First Contact came out. You were not. You were young.
Yeah, I mean, I was. Yeah, I wouldn't say 10 is like crazy young, but yeah, I was young.
So the bad guys are the Sleepwalkers.
Yes. And they give you like a whole thing in the beginning of what a sleepwalker is. And it's like one of the first times where like they give you information at the beginning of the movie where I'm like, you know what? That was actually useful information. Thank you.
That was an addition made by Mick Garris himself. It was like one of like 2 things that he decided to add in personally into the script.
It's a good thing because a lot of times when they give you that information, it is stupid and pointless.
Yeah, it's a nomadic shape-shifting creatures with human and feline origins, vulnerable to the deadly scratch of the cat. The sleepwalker feeds upon the life force of virginal human females. Probable source of the vampire legend. From the Chillicothe Encyclopedia of Arcane Knowledge, first edition, 1884, which isn't a real thing. Just something Mick Garris made up, which is cool.
It worked, yeah.
So the Sleepwalkers are played by Brian Krause, playing Charles Brady, and Alice Krige playing Mary Brady.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is a mama and a son.
And while that introduction of explaining what Sleepwalkers are is very good, it is not complete without mentioning that these two love to fuck each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is abrasive how they introduce the audience to it.
I forgot how fast they introduce it. I wonder if Stephen King watched Paul Schrader's Cat People, and he's like, yeah, maybe. I can make a better incestuous Cat People movie.
It is insane because like you're introduced to.
By the way, he did.
Yeah, yes. Although Annette O'Toole, but anyway,
true enough.
So you're introduced to like the Tanya and the yearbook thing, and he looks like a little lover boy type thing.
Oh, right? Hold on,
He's got the music going.
He is sitting in his room with just a pair of jeans on, nothing else.
Yeah,
staring at this yearbook. And what else,
Right.
Tim?
Well, and playing your music.
Yeah. The Sleepwalk by Santo and Johnny. But what else is he doing, Tim?
I mean, he's just kind of circling it, and
he is fucking carving a T into his
Oh,
goddamn
yes.
arm.
I forgot about that.
I don't know
Yes,
how you
he
forget
is
about
carved.
that.
You're right. I mean, now that you remind me of, I
A
forgot.
T for
yes.
Tanya.
There's so much insanity that happens in this movie. I'm sorry, him carving a T in his arm was the thing I forgot.
It struck me on this viewing. I was like, man, I have never felt this way about a woman where I feel like I need to carve her initial into my flesh. Like, nope.
I guess the interesting thing is, like, right, so I'm slightly jumping ahead here, right? So, and I have so many questions too. His job basically in his family dynamic
Yep.
is to search out the young virgins, because he is still young and can pass off as a teenager, I guess.
Yep.
And to find the young virgins and bring them back so him and his mother could suck the life force out of them and live on and be young and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, it's almost like a reverse bird situation where, like, he gets the virgin souls, he sucks it in, and then he gives some back to his mom.
Is
something.
that what it is?
That's the impression I got.
Okay, because maybe that's what they're doing in the bedroom when everything turns purple?
I just assume when sleepwalkers fuck each other, they turn purple.
Or are they
I don't-
exchanging life force when they're doing it?
I don't know. It's a great question.
I don't know.
I'd
There's so
love
many
to-
questions.
I would love to sit Mick and Steven down, like, talk to me about the purple glow when the
Yes.
sleepwalkers are boning. I'd love to know.
I want to know that. I have so many questions about how they have, I guess, vampire myth thing here too. When they look in the mirrors, you can see them as full feline looking,
yeah,
but they're also
feline
not,
looking.
whatever, monster cat looking thing. I don't know what you would,
We'll get into
hairless
that.
cat, hairless cat.
We'll get into that.
But why also are they, like, not clothed when they're clearly clothed? Is that part of their magic powers to make themselves look clothed? I don't know. So it was weird.
Could be.
But regardless, so the back to the original point was, he clearly, every time they go to new towns or whatever, his mission is to go and find the virgins. He's been in this new town for a while, at least for a little bit.
Short while, yeah.
Yeah, everybody kind of knows that he's the new guy, that kind of stuff. So he's been here for a little while. So he's already picked his sights on Tanya, which is another thing we probably could have, if we wanted to flush the movie out, we could have had a little bit more of him trying to find a good virgin or whatever. Like, that could have been stuff you could have gone to
I'm
well.
good on Charles. I wanted more Tanya.
You're fair. You're right. I'm just saying, if you did want to make this a longer movie, but
Right.
what I was trying to say is, so clearly he's done this a lot.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Finding it, we already know from earlier, they were already at the beginning of the movie. They were already at a different town.
Bodega Bay, California.
Yeah, they've already done this quite a bit. So, do you think he carves every time, or because it does almost seem like he does actually kind of like her?
No, I agree. I think he actually
Yeah.
does, and so it's fascinating. And I'll go into that a little bit more when we get to it. But it's a weird dynamic, and that's why the switch happens when he goes full villain is so jarring
Yeah.
to me.
It is, because it seems before that he does kind of dig her, and that's why I was curious, if has he carved a name before, and there's like at least two different times where he does the Tanya thing.
Yeah.
Again after the movie interaction, and then during the yearbook thing. So that's why I was just curious, because that's what's the interesting thing about the villains here, and why they're so interesting, is they do a lot of work to try to make them sympathetic.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating.
Well, let's get into the other part of the pair. When we first meet Mary Brady, she's downstairs in the house, looking on anxious as she hopes the cat outside steps into the bear trap she has laid for it.
Yep.
Unfortunately for her, the cat is too smart and avoids the trap. Luckily, Charles is there to console her, cheer her up with a dance to Sleepwalk by Santo and Johnny,
And don't worry, you always get them.
which this movie plays like a half a dozen times.
Yeah.
And then they fuck.
Yep.
And like I said, no matter how many times I've seen this movie, the quickness to the incest jars me every time. I was like, oh!
Every time. Well, at least every time. I say every time. This is the first time I've ever seen it. But it was... So anyway, they clearly set mom, son. And then they start dancing, and my notes go like, this dance is looking rather romantic between mother and son. Like, again, I've never seen the movie before. I don't know this is gonna happen.
I almost wish I could have watched it with you for this and the Mark Hamill cameo.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I'm like, why is this looking romantic? This is really disturbing. And then they just straight up making out, and I'm like, whoa, what? And then you see the scene of him bringing her, like holding her in two arms, like how you would cross the threshold with your new bride, bringing her up the stairs, and no. Like it starts changing into what to know. And then they go in the room, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And then it starts glowing purple. Then it goes into, what? What is happening?
And it's like not the only time we see these two bone in the movie. It's like it's multiple times after mine. It's like, this mommy and son fuck.
And apparently, eventually it goes into, oh, it's happening again. But in that initial scene, it is a roller coaster of emotions of, what is happening? I don't know.
Oh, we should also point out that while it's extra confusing, we know these actors and actresses, not mother and son.
Right.
They are somewhat age appropriate. But Alice Krige is looking really good in this movie, too. So it's like, damn it, this is kind of hot at the same time.
She's
really
always in a sundress.
She looks great.
They're good-looking people, all that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
because you gotta give it to the dude is incredibly handsome.
Oh, he
as well, and I think he looks a lot better here than he ends up looking in Charm. But
never saw Charm, but yeah.
Mom got me to watch a lot of it. I had never watched it all the way through. It's not a good show. I never liked it.
I believe you, but it's so gross when you see them fucking in the mirror. When it's like just like this.
You keep dropping the F-bomb, man.
This gross,
but explicit.
It's fair. This gross pile of latex on top of this other gross pile of latex. It's like, ow, ow.
They look kind of like wet.
This isn't attractive anymore. Go away.
Yeah, it's not great.
So I laughed out loud at Charles in the creative writing class giving a detailed description of Sleepwalkers to the entire class.
Yes, that was another one of my notes. It was like, wait a minute, is he just describing his whole life story?
It's a creative writing class.
Yeah, creative writing class. Like, oh my gosh. And then, what is it? What's his character's name from Beetlejuice? I was kind of like, whoa.
Odo or something?
Ortho or something like that? I don't know. Was that the
it's Glenn Shattuck's.
Yeah, the dude from Beetlejuice who's the help.
Otho. It's Otho.
Otho. Otho?
Otho. O-T-H-O.
Gotcha. Okay. Otho. So I guess it's been a while. I got to rewatch Beetlejuice. Great movie.
Oh, sequel's coming.
Sequel is coming. Yeah, I would also classify him as a villain, I guess.
Okay, sure.
What's up with that psycho teacher?
Well, let's begin. I was excited to hear from you about some of his teaching prowess. First off, this class is in the library, which I find to be very weird. But yeah, go on, Tim.
So how overcrowded a lot of schools are, that actually was not that surprising.
Okay. But what do you think of his discipline?
We're North Carolina. We have a lot of trailers because we don't have enough space. But his discipline tactics are questionable. One, that he's basically acting like a Catholic nun with a ruler slapping knuckles, which is capital punishment, and dear Lord. Although I think they're in a more conservative state, but that's typically something you see more in the South.
Indiana.
Things like paddling is allowed, but still really crazy to see. And of course he has to investigate because somebody made him look stupid, which was lost all respect for me in that classroom. But it wasn't just him, because I feel like it's a school problem, because like later on, like after that class, you see another teacher pulling on a high school kid's ear, pulling him out of a classroom. It's like, what is going on in this school? Like, what is this? Like, this is like everything. These should be priests, and this should be heaven help us. Why are we in a public school looking like it's a Catholic school?
I always get excited when I see a school scene. Like, oh, this is gonna make Tim mad.
I mean, it's so true. It's ridiculous, though. It's insane. But I have to say, regardless of that, he had such a small part in this movie, but again, nails it, and he's a lot of fun. Good.
Yeah, it's a character you remember.
Yes.
When Charles makes the flip to evil in the graveyard, it is so sudden and big.
We're jumping, aren't we? Jumping?
I don't know. I'm not going to go through the whole movie.
You're right. There's just so much here with villains, but yeah.
And it's a lot of this is, like I said, in action. Because there's a lot.
Yeah, I guess that's why we can't really talk about him in Ortho again.
Yeah, Otho.
Sorry.
When Charles makes the flip to evil in the graveyard, it is so sudden and big. It's the first time I actually didn't like Krause in the movie, and I don't think it's his fault. I can't put my finger on what happened here and why it doesn't work for me. It's like he's angry at her for being into him or that she fell for his trap. I don't know, but he's like really villainous all of a sudden.
I don't think he wanted it to happen yet.
Right.
I think he was trying. This is the gist I'm getting, because I prescribe to. I think he really liked her, and that she seemed understanding to his, fiction story.
Right, and had the loneliness of the sleepwalker life.
Right, and he was mad when she shows up to his house, and did not want everything happening. Like, he was like horrified by what his mother was doing.
Yeah.
Which I thought was weird, because like, wow, she showed up. Dinner is served. Like, end it right here. And they didn't, which I thought was really bizarre. Because easily, from what we see later with both of their abilities, could have easily just done. Movie over. Da-na-na-na,
yeah, that's a good point.
Anyway, over, right? But they don't. And for some odd reason, it was not the time or the place. And he gets slapped around one time about that as well.
I'm sorry.
Right? He gets slapped around because the mom's upset that he thought it wasn't the right time or place. So to me, all of that prescribes to, and I don't know why the mother wasn't more on that, to be honest, that he really did like her. And I think he was mad because when she's down to go, it basically, I think hunger, whatever, takes over, and now he's forced into doing something he didn't want to do yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes him go full psycho. That's my interpretation.
Okay.
That's what I saw with it. So I kind of got it, but I get what you're saying, that to go from liking her to full on, I now hate you and I'm going to be real messed up now. But I don't know if it was just a switch snapping because, damn it. All right, here we go. Because I liked you, but now I have to be this.
Yeah. It's like, isn't this what you wanted, Tanya? The excitement?
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what the hell?
For sure.
I also want to point out the final and true Sleepwalker form. It's just off-putting. Garrus admits he's not happy with the look and says the heads are too big. And
it almost looks like a weird version of what comes from Ghostbusters. The keymaster and the gate, the gatekeeper.
I don't know. I can't help but laugh at the little ears they have on this giant head still.
Yeah, they look bizarre. And again, I don't understand why the mirror thing and the reflection, but then they also can see a cat and randomly look like it to other people, and then they can choose when they look like it and not. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's a weird idea.
Let's go into the powers of the Sleepwalker. I mean, they're immortal. They're super strong.
I really wanted to know how old they were. We never got that.
I don't know. I think some of the the Egyptian drawings were made to look like Alice Krige a bit.
But that just shows that their kind has been around for a long time.
Right, I know, but some of the drawings kind of look like Alice Krige, so it made me think that they might be.
Oh, really?
At least
I
thought so.
Got that it was her specifically, because there's even a line too, we're not the only ones left.
Yeah,
but they're worried that they are.
No,
so clearly
she can
there's
sense that there are more.
Yes,
ripe for a sequel.
Yeah.
So like I said, They immortal, super strong. They have some telekinesis, some telepathy, and can make themselves or anything else go invisible, and can and make objects appear differently than they actually are. It's quite the set of powers.
Yeah, takes some concentration, but yeah.
But if a cat scratches or bites them, they're done for.
Or at least to a certain amount.
Right, yeah. It takes more than a couple of scratches, but still, it's
right.
Yeah,
it's not great. And for some odd reason, cats have a sixth sense for these sleepwalkers and basically goes out to find them. I don't think these cats like sleepwalkers at all.
No, they don't. It's like they have some kind of supernatural calling. They come to their house. They just like start coming in giant groups. Like every cat in the entire town is there by the end of the movie.
The feline kind, and now we're here to get you, kind of deal.
Yeah. I want to go more into how amazing Alice Krige is as Mary Brady in action. So I don't have anything more I want to say here. Do you?
That's fair. No, you're right. I think a lot, again, kind of like the hero, a lot of stuff is in action here.
Because she like takes over like in the second half of the movie. Like it's all Charles Brady in the first half, and then it's all Alice in the second half.
Because after that graveyard incident, he's kind of out.
Yeah.
He's there, but
he's laid up on the couch. Yeah.
Yeah, and so then it really turns on to mom there to carry the load, and she does that quite well.
Quite well. So what'd you give the villains in this movie?
I went a 3 again.
I did too for this one. I gave a 3 for them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're interesting. I have definitely more questions that I would have loved to be answered, but it was more like it wasn't like there wasn't enough. It was just enough. It was like they gave me information, but I'm also interested to know more, but it's not like ruining the movie that I didn't know more.
Okay. Yeah.
So that keeping of wanting, I approved.
Absolutely.
But final form stuff looked terrible.
Yeah. It just did.
Yeah.
So on to the final forms of these guys.
Yeah.
The makeup artists, production people who had to create these things were just, it sounds like totally swamped and overworked and not given enough time for this movie to make what they wanted to make.
Yeah.
So that's why you got the extra giant heads. Because they just couldn't figure out a way to shrink them down in time. Because they wanted the robotics of the face to kind of move around a little bit and to fit that in with everything else. They just, like I said, they just didn't have enough time. And the original idea ended up being moved to the Tommyknockers movie that they did for the TV movie.
Oh, I never saw that.
It's good. Don't ever watch it. But the the aliens are like taller and double jointed, and frankly, they do kind of look cooler. And I'm gonna send you a picture real quick so you can see what they ended up looking like.
Okay.
Yeah, if you had given them enough time, they would have looked closer to that, so everyone else can just Google the aliens from Tommyknockers. But they were like making like Clive Barker's Nightbreed at the time, and there's a ton of effects work in that movie and a bunch of other movies at the same time. They just overworked.
Okay. I guess it.
Yeah. So let's get into action.
Yeah, there's not a lot at first, and then the whole latter half of the movie is it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the closest you get to the beginning, I guess, is you get they attempt like a jump scare or two in the beginning with Mark Hamill that.
Yeah, so you get the first
fine, but it doesn't really work.
Yeah, the first bit of action is the intro in Bodega Bay, which is part of reshoots, because they wanted him to reshoot the ending, and he says, "Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I also want to do something new for the beginning," and so this was added way later. And Garrus used to answer the phones for Lucasfilm. That was how he got his start.
Oh, wow.
In Hollywood. And so he knew Mark Hamill personally, and he asked him as a favor to like do this real quick. And he's like, yeah, sure. So you got Sheriff Mark Hamill arriving on the scene to this house in California where someone has lynched and mutilated like a couple of dozen cats, just like
A lot of them.
hanging outside the house.
Yeah, I think he even has a line like, "Someone really doesn't like cats," or
Yeah. Clearly a hastily written line, but it's like, all right.
but it works because Mark Hamill is amazing and he can pull it off.
Exactly. And when they go into the house to investigate, Garrus hits us with Dutch angles, which is nice.
Yeah,
But
I noticed that.
But a fairly lame cat in a closet jump scare, followed by a dead body falling out of the closet jump scare. Which, like I said, doesn't work, like you said.
Work.
But the lighting in the scene is really good. Like it's got some reds and greens popping through from like the windows, and it's great.
Yeah, the aesthetics work, and I like the look of the dead body that is like basically mummified looking with braces. Like I like the look of the body, but yeah, just the horror element of it didn't quite work.
No, but I appreciated they wanted to add more horror to it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't cheesy. It was just like that. Just the jump scare just really fell flat.
So the next bit is the creative writing teacher, Mr. Fallows.
Yes. Knuckle slapper. This is amazing.
It's a really good scene.
This is the moment where I was like, I'm in. This was the part. Because I was like, man, there's some stuff I like here, but this is really messed up. I'm not sure I'm in for all the incest here. I might be out. And then you're watching this scene, and he's kind of like, oh gee shucks, why are you so mean to me, teacher? You know, like that kind of stuff going on. And he's like, I know you're a fake and that kind of stuff. And he's great in that moment. Like, I know you're not real. Like everything's fake, yada yada yada. But like the rest of it, I'm like, I'm not so sure. And then all of a sudden, he rips his hand off.
Well, that's...
And I'm like, yes, it looks great. And I'm like, I am in.
All right.
They pulled that off. The effect looked great.
Yeah.
The horrified Otho there is like, oh my God.
Poor Glenn Shaddix will always just be Otho.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the creative writing teacher, Mr. Fallows, figures out that Charles' backstory and transcripts are bullshit. So
and only because he called them out on the cube box line.
The what?
So they say a line about a cube has 4 sides.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
then actually has 6 sides. Yeah.
6 sides, and everybody laughs. And that is the only reason that he puts his sights onto him and investigates this kid.
No, he's too smart. I got to figure something. What's going on here? There's no way he's from Ohio. So yeah, Fallows follows him in his car and like honks him off the road.
Yeah.
And
which this guy is still presumably a kid that he's doing this road rage stuff to, basically, which is another like, oh my God.
And he tells him like, I know you're bullshit. Your whole story is bullshit. Your transcripts are fake. And Brian Krause is trying to play this all sweet and innocent. And is like, you know, I don't have any,
mister.
Yeah, I don't have any money if you think you can blackmail me. And that's when it gets real dark, where Shaddix is like, well, so mercenary your generation. There are other things you can pay me back with besides money. And he starts reaching his hand down, going down to his crotch. And that's that's where Charles rips off his hand. And he says, you're right, Mr. Fallows. People really should learn to keep their hands to themselves. Here's yours. And he hands his severed hand back to him. And this is a callback to in the class where Fallows like whipped the guy's hand for passing a note. He says, keep your kids really learn to put your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
And the gore is just nice, like you said.
It's great.
It's nice blood.
It really is. It's practical, but it's not. It doesn't look bad. Like it looks pretty darn good.
Yeah, and then Fallows like runs into the woods, and like Charles goes into like werecat mode, and just chases him and mauls him to death. You don't get to see much of the mauling; you just see him on top of him and clearly
it's
like,
actually
chewing
the
or whatever.
Worst part of it. It's bad. Actually, that's the one part that's bad. And that's the thing that's kind of a letdown because it's like that part was so good with their hand ripping off, but then like he's clearly like just like slightly moving his head around and nothing is really happening. Like it looks bad.
I think the censors screwed this movie. I think there was a lot more blood and stuff. In fact, I know there was. They kept on like nope, we're gonna give you an X if you don't tap this. He's like, ugh. And it's like, man, this movie could have been PG-13 more or less today.
Yeah,
or close to it.
And I would say like, well, cool. Then maybe in modern days this could have been remade and done so well. But at the same time, I would be worried about anybody else pulling it off.
No, I agree. But I'm all I'm just saying is that like the censors were mean. The ratings people, the MPA were just like, come on.
Fair enough. I mean, that's a good excuse for that one moment, but the hand ripping off in that whole moment still overshadows.
It's great.
How it didn't quite end well, but yeah.
So after this, Charles is feeling himself.
By the way, I also love how he's running through the woods and it'd be like, I'm sorry. I'm gonna take it back.
Yeah, exactly.
I like a lot of that too.
Yeah, Shaddix is really good in this small part.
It really is just the very end where it's like, ah.
Yeah, you just want to see something more and bloody, maybe like a limb flying or something like that, and it just
which we'll get more of later.
So Charles is feeling himself after killing Fallows and starts to speed.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Which catches the attention of the cops, and we have a chase scene.
Yeah, we do.
And unfortunately, the rock music playing over the scene is horrendous, which is really a bummer because it's a competently directed car chase scene.
Yeah, I didn't even notice. I actually thought it was pretty good. And
no, it's a well-directed chase scene. I just think the music over it is like, this sucks. I hate it.
To be honest, I can't even recall. Like, I think I was invested enough.
It's better than the crap they played in the Buffy movie, but it's still not great.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of hard to not get into it. So I'll just mention and say we'll talk about it more. But we have sidekicks in this scene that I classified as sidekicks.
Yeah.
That I greatly enjoyed.
Sure.
Which again, everybody's kind of killing their part. So I was again invested, and I was invested enough that I apparently ignored the crappy music.
Anyway, it's a good car chase scene.
It's a good car chase scene.
Especially like the scene where like he speeds up at where like the kids are crossing the street for the school or whatever, and
he's about to run over a kid, and he's excited and smiling about it. I was like, wow.
Yeah, and the crossing guard saves the kid at the last second. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and I love how the sheriff, the deputy's like, I think he purposely tried to kill that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Well, Deputy Andy eventually pulls up alongside him, and unfortunately for him and all of us, Clovis the attack cat is riding shotgun. It's the one cat I truly love.
Clovis.
I know. I don't like cats. I'm allergic to them.
I love your special edition poster has him like front and center.
Clovis the attack cat is amazing. So Clovis the attack cat, that's what's on his tag, Clovis the attack cat.
Oh, I didn't notice it said attack cat. That's great. I know it said Clovis, but I didn't realize it said attack cat. That's fantastic.
The attack cat, yeah.
But he has his own hype machine. Clovis has his own hype machine, and it is the deputy.
Yeah, Deputy Andy.
Who's always hyping him up, like, yeah, you get it, Clovis. It's like, I love this relationship. This is great.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Clovis
stepping, on our sidekicks.
Clovis pulls us alongside him, and when Charles spots Clovis, he freaks out.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
And then we get the morphing into like 4 different heads and a little boy head.
Yeah. Really weird stuff. It looks like something from Animorphs.
Well, it's the first time the technology had been used in a movie, and first time ever after the Michael Jackson black or white video. But it's dated as hell. It just looks
it looks not great. Yeah. It looks odd.
But I really appreciate Deputy Andy's "what the fuck" reaction because
he kind of brings you back, right?
Yeah,
because it sucks you out in that moment of the datedness, but then he brings you back with his reaction, which is great. I agree.
And that's when Charles decides to gun it and pulls away from the cop. And
apparently he's got the nitrous. So.
And he pulls over when he doesn't.
Your car.
There you go. he he pulls over and makes his
fast.
Yeah, he did. He pulls over, makes his car turn invisible with his mind, and
yeah, that's a power.
And Deputy Andy comes up, and he's convinced that he's lost him. Clovis sees him the entire time.
Yeah, but
His
he's
cats
looking
see
around
through it
like,
all.
how did I lose him? Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? But Clovis is like, he's right there.
Yeah, unfortunately,
But of
Deputy
course,
Andy
can't
can't
hear.
Yeah, I love Charles. Like, stop looking at me, cat. Stop looking at me, fucking cat.
Yeah, you dropped the F-bomb several times this episode, and now you don't want to drop it when
Well, you got me thinking about it now. You got me thinking about it. Stop looking at me, you fucking cat.
Yeah, like, and it is a well delivered F-bomb in that moment. It is actually kind of striking, like how great that moment is when he's yelling at. Because I think everybody's kind of had that moment of like, oh no, please, nobody noticed that. Nobody see, you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of moment. Like,
So
it's good.
Deputy Andy gives up. He's like, all right, I lost him. He goes away, and that's when Charles
Turns his
morphs his car from a blue
yeah.
Trans Am into a red Mustang.
Yeah.
And this is like when Superman threw his shield in Superman 2. It's like, oh, you didn't know I had that power, did you? It's like, all right.
Nobody knew Superman had that power.
Okay.
Insane.
Maybe the best joke the Family Guy ever did.
Oh, you might be right. Yeah. At least for us.
Yeah. So later on, as Charles is attacking Tanya in the graveyard and has her pinned down, Tanya grabs a corkscrew from the overturned picnic basket and jabs him in the eye.
Right in the eye.
Which is nice and bloody.
It is.
In the original
it's
cut,
enough that you don't exactly show everything. You just see some bloodiness on the corkscrew, and of course his eye is bloody. But they do it. It's great.
Well, originally it was going to be a full-on eye on that corkscrew.
Oh yeah.
And the censors were like, "Nope, can't do that." And he's like, "Oh."
It still pulled it off. Like I think
there's
that
enough
was
gore on there. It works,
Yeah.
but I would have a full eye would have been cool.
think
He's clearly
they
been
could have put
blinded.
that elsewhere, like what he does to the teacher.
Right.
You know, if you had to take one,
I would make that trade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then later on, she gets away after corking him in the eye, and
a lot of scratching of a face, because I think there's a scratching of a face too in that scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where she runs out of the graveyard, and that's where Deputy Andy has stumbled upon them.
Yeah. Sad. Because I have to say, like, that's another thing. Like, if you wanted to flesh things out more, we could have used more Deputy Andy.
I love that you loved him. Yes. Well, there's plenty of Clovis in this movie, but yeah.
We could have used more. And I was actually shocked that he went out as early as he did. But maybe at the same time, maybe that's what worked, because when he goes, it's actually sad.
Yeah, well, Charles sneaks up behind Deputy Andy and shoves a sharpened pencil into his ear.
Yeah,
and
but he's still alive.
Well, it's worse. Deputy Andy falls on the pencil, shoving it further into his head.
And they show that it goes further into, which I liked.
It's great, but then Charles yells out, "Cop kebab!" And it's like, oh.
Yeah, that wasn't great. They really let him be over the top fun with it. I think that he had his wheelhouse. That was like, I think that's the part where I had a problem with his character, or at least the actor.
Yeah,
in the role.
this is what I'm saying.
He was really, really good as charming boy.
Yep.
Type of deal. But when he went full villain, that's where he had.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a little bit trouble sticking things, and it's weird because I don't know if another actor would have pulled off both. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it's a person. I don't think it's the actor in this. I think it's the way it's written.
Yeah.
It's just like he shouldn't have had him go as big as he did.
Probably.
In fact, it probably would have been more interesting if he was just still doing this and still feeling kind of bad about it.
Maybe more. Yeah. Maybe he's more angry with it, or
it's like, I've got to do this. You don't understand, or something like that. I don't know. But
I don't know, because
he suddenly turns into a gleeful villain. It's like, oh, weird.
There's a way to do gleeful villain. Maybe if he wasn't so over the top about it, I don't know. Because you think of like something like the Fright Night remake, and it's like,
wow,
that sounds fantastic. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah. So somehow Deputy Andy survives though, and he gets up and he shoots Charles in the back.
Yeah.
But Charles just turns around and takes the gun from Andy and shoots him dead.
It looks like, did he use some kind of power in that moment? Because he almost seemed like dazed, or maybe he was surprised you're still alive. I don't know.
I think he's just caught by surprise because
something.
there's only one thing that can hurt him.
Because there was some weird noise music going on in that moment.
Oh,
So that's why I was questioning it.
Anyway, that's when Clovis the attack cat jumps out and claws Charles nearly to death.
Clovis!
That's right.
Yeah.
Charles jumps into his car and drives away. But like Clovis then cuddling up to the dead body of Deputy Andy.
Sad.
Just giving me all the sads. Like
all the feels.
That's what we want from like all of our pets.
Yeah.
To just be that level of sad if something happens to us. To like, you know, it's like, oh.
What do you think, and I know she's not a horror fan. Gosh, what's her name from The Ringer?
Mallory Rubin.
Yeah. What do you think her reaction would be?
She doesn't watch horror movies, so I don't know.
I know, that's what I was just saying. She doesn't watch those kind of movies. But do you think like she'd be slightly on board with this movie because of this, but also horrified by that moment? I don't know.
I don't think you could ever get her to watch it, but I think she would enjoy seeing all the cats.
Okay, fair enough. I think she'd enjoy and cry over that Bond. Like she'd be sobbing.
Absolutely, she'd be crying. Yeah.
Okay.
So later on, Charles gets home, and he's near death and everything like that, and the cops are hot on their tail because Tanya gave a full statement to the cops when they got there, and
right.
Eventually they leave, and because they're not there, Mary has turned herself invisible and they can't see them, and they leave two cops outside the house to stake it out, waiting for them to come home.
Waiting for them to come home.
And that's where Mary turns herself invisible again, sneaks up on two cops staking out her house, and like smacks their heads together twice, which looks great.
Bad. It looks bad. It does. It looks bad, but payoff is so good.
Exactly. Alice Cree's delivery of "You're right. That's not the fucking wind." It's like,
yeah,
it was so good.
Oh my! If they could have done that, and I'm curious if that was a reshoot too, of like we can't make that look as violent or horror or gore or horrific or whatever, because that could have been amazing.
Like if we see like the heads like splatter or something like that.
Something,
yeah.
Or look a little bit more forceful, but it looks so like, I don't know about that.
TV,
one. Yeah. It looked bad, but she saved it. With that,
Alice Cree,
her delivery,
so good. So then Mary Brady comes to Tanya's house and rings the bell, holding a vase of roses.
Yeah.
And after sweet talking with Tanya's dad for a second, she smashes the vase across the dad's face, and either knocks him out and kills him. Not sure which, but he's pretty bloody.
See, bloody and like
he's got some flesh missing from his face
for sure. Like
That's when Deputy Horace and Tanya's mom come to her dad's aid.
Horace is the worst.
Yeah, but Mary...
You're named that, you're automatically a horrible character, right?
Probably.
I guess that's what it is. Right?
Yeah. Mary shoves Horace to the ground and, I guess, I don't know, stuns him.
Yeah, he's like incapacitated for way too long for being shoved.
Mary does some small talk. She's like, you have a lovely home.
Yeah.
And then she gets tired of it and like twists... Tanya's mom's arm around and like throws her out a window, the front window, which is nice. It's a nice little stunt.
Yeah, it was a good practical stunt. Throws her out the window. I liked it.
That's when Horace gets up and unloads his gun and misses every damn shot.
Because he's the worst.
Mary doesn't flinch, to her credit. It's like, that looks cool.
Yeah.
That's when he gives up, runs to the phone to call for backup, and halfway through the call, Mary walks behind him, takes one of the corn cobs he was previously dining on, and stabs him dead in the back with it.
It is...
And she says, no vegetables, no dessert. Those are the rules.
It is probably the most Dr. Death moment. Not Dr. Death, sorry. Dr. Giggles moment.
Oh, okay. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Especially Death by Corn Cob. Never saw that before. Haven't seen it since.
That's for sure.
Really
That's
liked
for sure. It's weird because like it does slightly fit with like that was not the fucking win, but at the same time it's a bit cheesier at the same time.
Yeah.
So I have such mixed feelings on this moment.
It's still her
First off,
delivery.
She nails the delivery.
Yeah.
Because she's amazing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I know everything in this movie is absurd, but it almost goes a little bit too far in that scene. So I have such mixed feelings on it. But at the same time, I'm not going to lie, I cackled.
There you go. That's all that matters.
Yeah, right?
So
I did appreciate.
Tanya comes down from her bath where she was trying to like clean herself from the violation she got from Charles.
Yeah, basically.
And Mary just knocks her out with a right cross and drags her ass out of the house by her hair.
Yeah. It's pretty badass.
It really is.
Yeah.
State police arrive on the scene, and Captain Soames, played by Ron Perlman.
That wasn't clear to me that was state police at first. It took me a little bit to realize that.
Right.
I think it was a Horace line.
I think you're right. It was not very clear at first. So
yeah.
Captain Soames gets into Mary's face about letting Tanya go, and Mary takes the hand that Soames is using to point at her face and bites his damn fingers off.
Yeah.
And then breaks his arm and beats him with it, knocking him out. Mary is a damn badass.
Which also, like she seems so strong and powerful. Why is the son doing all the work? Because she almost seems way stronger than he is.
It's a decent question. I'm not sure.
Yeah. You know, is that just the power dynamics of a sleepwalker?
If you think about it like lions, the female lion does all the hunting, while the male lion just kind of lounges around and waits for if he's got to do some protecting. Right. So maybe that's like a flip dynamic of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. It's because like, dang. Like, obviously holds her own a lot better.
Well, let's get to Tim's favorite part of the movie. Mary grabs Soames' gun, and which happens to be the same gun from 2 Down, 1 to Go. Mary takes 2 shots and blows up 2 different police cars with these shots. And one dude is like shown totally engulfed in flames.
It is impressive.
Tim loves explosions.
I do love explosions. Explode. I do. It is amazing that we have action movie trope in this horror movie where she literally fires the gun twice.
Yep.
In a perfect way to make 2 cars explode. And then you get the guy on fire, and it's practical on fire, guy, which I always appreciate. It's practical explosions, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so utterly insane
in a good way.
I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
I explode. I do. I appreciate it. I do.
Thank you, Bane.
I'm not gonna lie.
So every cat in town has gotten some calling to surround Mary's house.
Oh yeah. Now the cats are mad. They're like, Sleepwalkers, you have gone too far. Assemble.
So Mary, with Tanya in the car with her, deems it unsafe to get out of the car and walk in the house. So she rams the car straight inside.
Well, okay,
Lethal Weapon 1.
Back.
Style, what's up?
Backtrack. Actually, before the cats assemble, drags her butt into the cop car, into the deputy's car to drive her back, right? But there's a skirmish in that car where she's trying to escape the car. Mm-hmm. And that's when mom is like, you bitch, and is like punching her out and like getting her back in the car. So that is also fantastic good stuff.
Oh, it's just more Alice Krige just being amazing in this movie.
I just want to bring that up. We're talking about action.
Outstanding,
it's action.
Outstanding
She's really
point.
good in that moment.
Yeah.
The way she could deliver that line too, like, oh my gosh, if she called me a bitch in the way she just called her, like, I'd be devastated.
Alice Krige is 5'5". So I got like 4 inches on her and 100 pounds probably, I would be super intimidated by her.
But turned on at the same time.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, inexplicably so. Yeah,
weird dynamic.
Yeah,
but she's great, and I love. Yeah, but you're right. As soon as that ends, she gets her house, but then she's like, oh my God, all the cats, which is the thing that scares her the most. So, and they make that very clear throughout the movie. So yeah, so she drives through whatever.
It's just like Lethal Weapon 1.
Town.
Yeah.
Who cares about this house? So yeah, she drives right through her home.
One of the cats tries to jump her after she gets out of the car, and she just grabs the cat in midair and snaps its neck and tosses it to the ground.
Which was awesome.
Yep. As
much as I don't want animal death, but it was a very, again, badass moment.
Yeah. Then like, the reason she's bringing Tanya around is she thinks that Tanya's virgin spirit will like heal Charles, I guess.
Yeah.
So
wait, I got a question.
Yeah.
Because I think this is where you're going to next. Is he dancing at his own volition and power?
I don't think so.
Or is she's making him with her powers?
I think she's telekinetically forcing this.
That's what I thought.
Because he's basically passed out and like near death.
Yeah, he looks like out of it. Like he's
and it's a creepy scene when she's like forcing her like a puppet to dance with her like nearly a corpse son. And at the moment when you're watching it, you think he's dead. Like he's not breathing.
Yeah, he's basically gonna be done at any second. So I guess you got to take it as because she's, so in love with her son here.
Yeah.
So him at the state and everything, and them being questioning of are they the last ones? I think she's over the deep end at this point. Like she's kind of mentally broke.
Yeah.
So that's where you can kind of be like, as much as this is like, well, this is really weird and odd. Why aren't we sucking life force at this point? In this scene, I think she is mentally lost it.
But it turns out she's right. Charles is alive and starts to suck the life force out of Tanya. But Tanya is not done fighting and jabs her finger into the skull of Charles, blinding his other eye.
The other eye, right?
Yeah,
other eye, yeah.
And that's when Clovis the attack cat leads a charge of cats to kill some sleepwalkers. He's back.
Yes!
The sheriff arrives. This is probably my favorite scene in the movie. It makes me laugh so hard every time. The sheriff arrives and shoots Mary with his shotgun, which blasts off one of the cats that were hanging on her back.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. So he's in front of her. The cat is attacking her on the back.
Yeah.
So he shoots a shotgun blast to her chest, stomach area, right? Abdomen. And you see the cat blast off the back of her.
Wow. I had to rewind it.
No, it's a cackle moment, man.
I had to rewind it like 3 times. It cracks me up every time.
It's pretty funny, which of course helps her be like, cool, no more cats. Now here I come.
She transforms into her full sleepwalker mode then.
Which is a great sheriff moment.
The sheriff's like, nope, and throws his gun to the ground, grabs Tiny, he's like, I'm getting out of the house. We gotta go. Go.
We're just out.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Mary catches up, throws the sheriff from his car into the yard, and his hand lands on a bear trap.
Yes.
Tanya is able to get in the car, but Sleepwalker Mary is trying to rip her from it. The sheriff has gotten up then and uses this chain.
Hold on. Can we also say how Mary in this movie, I'm sorry to cut your thing, has a real difficult time getting technology to work for her? Because earlier with the son, she can't get the freaking radio to work. She's like several times pushing it, like hello, because she's in the deputy's car, like trying to get somebody to come
Tanya?
to her. Yeah,
You said Mary.
Sorry, Tanya. Sorry, my bad. She's in the car trying to get the radio to work for her. She cannot get the radio to work at all for her in the graveyard scene. And here she is now in the car trying to get the car to start. And she cannot get the freaking car to start. So it's like, man, this keeps happening to you, lady. Like, technology will not work for you.
Just classic horror movie tropes. I didn't think anything of it.
Okay.
So
that there was multiple of it made me think of it. But yeah, fair enough.
The sheriff gets up and uses the chain connected to the bear trap to snatch Mary right on the back.
Yeah.
And Mary grabs the chain and drags the sheriff over to her, like Scorpion. Get over here!
Get over here! Yeah, for sure.
She picks the sheriff up and like body slams it and impales him on the white picket fence.
Yes,
super cool.
I loved it. Although I have a mixed feeling here. So late at the very end, it will come back, but at the very end of the like movie, like the closing shot, right? You see Tanya just kind of holding dear sweet Clovis and looking at all the chaos that unfolded. Stuff's on fire, all that kind of stuff, right? And you see the sheriff is impaled on the fence too as we're looking. I almost didn't notice at first because it's they give you such a wide shot of all of that happened in this house, and then you do notice in the corner, like, oh look, there's the sheriff. He's impaled there, but he's impaled incorrectly, and I thought this was interesting. Yeah, because when you see him impaled originally, he is lengthwise with the fence.
Yeah.
But when you look at the end shot, he's positioned the other way.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I was like, what? That's not how he was impaled.
That'll be something for me to enjoy on my next rewatch.
Whatever. Yeah. Reshoots explains it all. So it didn't ruin the movie for me, but I was just like, oh, look, I noticed this.
So Clovis leads another charge, and all the cats in town claw and bite Mary to death, which lights her on fire, and she dies.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, because we've seen cats attack before. I've never seen it lead into lighting on fire, but all right, sure.
They just didn't get enough cat attack before.
It must be such an easier stunt when you're in that getup to be lit on fire. There's got to be so much more protection, right? I would assume.
I don't know. So I watched some behind the scenes stuff, and originally the two of them die together, her and Charles, in their full Sleepwalker suits, and they sort of like besides lighting on fire, they kind of boil up and bubble up into some goo. That's the original ending. And they obviously changed things. But when they light them on fire in the behind the scenes, which you can watch on the DVD, which is like Mick Garris's behind the scenes stuff or whatever, it's not that interesting except for this. Right. So you got to see a little of the original ending. They light them on fire. They're on fire for like 5 seconds. They're like, nope, okay, get them off. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that stuff was a little more flammable. I don't know, but they certainly didn't want to.
That's the kind of stuff you don't want to be on fire for too long.
Or maybe once they fall down and they're on fire, you can switch out and take out the real people. So you can just put some dummies and light them on fire.
Isn't that crazy? Now I'm thinking of Swamp Thing, right? When you told me like how like that guy had like the record for like the time being on fire.
That guy's nuts up. It's like,
right? It's insane. Like, because we take it for granted. Where you're like, oh, well, you know what? They weren't on fire for that long. And like, oh, that's kind of disappointing. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's actually really dangerous and horrifying because this guy has the record, and that's insane, right?
I'm more worried about that other guy from the cops.
Yeah, it looked like a lot less protected. That's why I was saying, like, was this safer because he had so much more stuff on him? But maybe it's safer, but it's not good stuff to breathe in.
Yeah, the other guy might have been in a fire suit, so I don't know.
Right.
He's completely
maybe
engulfed.
This stuff that was lit on fire is like toxic to breathe in.
Yeah, who knows? So Clovis, after the job is done, cuddles up with Tanya, and Tanya's like, "It's just us now, Clovis," and that's the end of the movie.
That's what she wanted all along. She needed that cat to protect her. That's what she wanted. She requested that was the one job, Sheriff. All you had to do was bring her the dang cat.
Funny story, by the way. Machen Amick is allergic to cats.
Oh.
And told them like a week before production. But so is Mick Garris, so he didn't hold it against her.
Oh, that's fair. It's unfortunate for both of them.
Yeah, it really is. Especially Machen, who's got to like cuddle up. So what'd you give action?
I keep not holding it up when you... action, I put 3 again.
So did I.
There was a lot of practical stuff. I love practical stuff.
Yeah.
And it looked good. Like, none of it looked cheap. Mm-hmm. Really, like, some of the digital stuff, but again, so early.
The morphing, yeah.
I'm not going to hold it against it.
No, they don't do it a lot.
They really don't. And they use so much practical stuff. And even the suits that looked bad, but they really used it sparingly. They really did. I did think it was weird, by the way, too, when Mary is lit on fire in her cat suit, that she is reverted back into human form at the very end
I think
on
just
fire.
you know what, Alice Krige deserves it. Just give her a little more screen time. All for it.
I get it, but at the same time,
No, it doesn't make any sense. It's weird.
it doesn't make any sense because clearly, even reflection form, that is their natural form. Is this cat thing, which still doesn't make any sense why clothes on clothes. But regardless, anyway, so they're ripping off of the hands, the explosions. There's just a lot of good practical gore body effects. I really appreciate. So 3. Yeah.
Cool. Sidekicks. No mentors here.
No mentors. No, not at all. This is my shortest category.
By far.
Deputy Andy and Clovis is really what I have here.
Clovis the attack cat, the scourge of the Sleepwalkers.
The big bummer is you had Ron Perlman and you were not able to.
Well, Mick Garris gets to use him again later on when he makes Desperation, and he lets Ron Perlman shine in that one.
Fair, but that's the problem. That's the for sidekick category. That's the problem with this movie. You had Ron Perlman. You did not utilize Ron Perlman. We've seen Ron Perlman in this year freaking kill it.
Yeah.
So it was a big I mean, don't get me wrong. When he is there, the dude shines.
I'm glad he got to be in the part he was in, though, because he got to have the most fun.
For him.
Yeah.
It's the perfect role for him. They're just, again, if I take it all back. If we were going to flesh anything out, sorry.
More Perlman?
More Perlman. That
Never
was
go
it.
wrong.
Everything else was fine. You need a little bit more, maybe with the sheriff and Perlman, and bring the police more into this. And I mean, maybe even make it more, because to be honest, he wasn't in it long enough to make his death satisfying as great as it was. You know what I mean? Just saying.
I love when the other cops appear and like he's looking out and he's unhappy with what's going on with his cops and the other town cops. Like,
yeah,
God damn it, it's like a Polish fire drill out there. It's like, what? So yeah, but the like you said, the star of this movie is Clovis the attack cat. They killed his person and he got his revenge and got Machen Amick as a new owner. What a win for Clovis.
It's a win for Clovis for sure. I really did enjoy Deputy Andy in his small bit. It really was sad.
It was
when he died.
You like him. You just do.
You really do. His whole relationship with his pet. Regardless whether you like cats or not, I hate cats. Regardless whether you like cats or not, everybody can identify. I think mostly owner relationship with pet, and the owner relationship was great. You really felt it. I really like his interaction, even with Horace being awful. I hate Horace. You know what I mean? Like he understands. Like, yeah, what I'm saying is crazy, so I'm gonna be reserved. But hey, I'm gonna find out. Like I really dug all of it. I really dug all. It just wasn't enough.
I want to get into Horace real quick for one quick second.
Oh, let's not.
Just 1 second. I want to point out the line where he's eating over at Tanya's house, and her mom is serving him dinner. And
you learn a disturbing amount of backstory on Horace.
Yeah, he mentions that I haven't eaten this well since his wife died. And it's like, wow, there's like one line of dialogue, and like all of a sudden I'm like kind of feel bad for this person who is just annoying. It's like, wow.
Just annoying.
It's a nice little Stephen King touch that I like Stephen King. Only he would like decide to flesh out this backstory for this tiny throwaway character real quick.
Sure. We can add another 100 pages for that.
I'll kill you. So,
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
Speaking of sidekicks, I guess. Is it incredibly alarming and strange to you that her parents are Ferris Bueller's parents?
Do you know they're actually married in real life too?
No!
Yeah.
My mind is blown. Seriously?
Swear to God, they're actually married in real life.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because to me, I'm like, wait a minute. How are they parents again?
They're a package deal. Let's tell you.
Apparently? Like, I mean, it's not like right after Ferris Bueller either. So it's like, what? What is this?
So
Super weird.
I have some more to blow your mind.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
So Stephen King's cameo.
Yes, which I loved.
As the
like
graveyard caretaker. And he walks over to director of Poltergeist and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Toby Hooper,
I did not know that.
Who is the lab
which
tech.
One was
He's the first
lab
one.
tech?
He's the first one with the beard and everything.
Oh, yeah, he's like, talks to whatever.
And tells him, I'm not taking the rap for this. And Toby Hooper says, don't talk to me, I'm busy. So King goes to the next guy, and it's Clive Barker.
I had no idea.
King says, once again, I'm not taking the rap for this. I had the place locked up. These kids do whatever they want. And Barker brushes him off and tells him to go talk to the sheriff. So King goes to try to talk to the sheriff, and the sheriff says, not now. And it just cuts him off before he even starts. The sheriff then goes and talks to the police photographer, who is played by Stuart Charno, who Tim might remember as the serial killer in the classic X-Files episode, Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose, the one with Peter Boyle where he's a psychic. And the serial killer is killing all the other psychics. He's the serial killer. But you definitely should remember him as Ted from Friday the 13th Part 2. One of the only guys who survives in Friday the 13th Part 2 because he stays at the bar because he wants to keep getting his drink on. Tim, I'm not done. There's more.
All right, I just want to make sure, interject here, that the audience can't see. This is obviously an audio podcast.
His jaw's on the floor.
My mind is completely blown here. Continue.
Later on, there are two. The sheriff is observing the photographs that Tanya took in the graveyard of Charles.
She tells him to get the photographs developed.
There is a gentleman to his right and to his left who are helping him deduce what's up with these pictures. They are played by director Joe Dante and John Landis.
What? Where does this small movie that is forgotten get people like to just... I guess it's a small circle. They all know and love each other, I guess. I don't know, but that's nuts.
I think what it is that Mick Garris might be like the sweetest human being in Hollywood. Just like, and so everybody loves this guy.
Yeah,
and
it's one of those.
You pair him up with Stephen King, and it's like, yeah, man, I'll do anything for this guy. He is just like a genuinely great human being, and it's like, sure, yeah. And it's just a very cool thing for like this true horror nerd. It's like, oh my god, look at all these legends in this movie.
Now I feel horrible that I didn't catch any of this, but I don't think these are people that are visually recognizable.
None of them are as front and center in front of the camera as like, say, Stephen King, like who you can recognize immediately.
Like, yeah, Stephen King, I noticed instantaneously, like, oh, hey, look at King, and he's killing it. I love this part. It's the best. I honestly, and I've definitely have not seen anywhere near as much as King because King's your boy. But as far as I have seen, this is the best thing I've ever seen King do.
It's probably my favorite.
Is this bit. But, and I know all of these people that you mentioned. I had no visual recognition, like recognizing of them.
Right.
And no, that blew my mind. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is neat. That is, I would argue, the most interesting piece of information, at least you personally have ever told me in this podcast at all today.
Okay, well, I'm glad I blew your mind. So what'd you give Sidekicks?
So as much as I did love Clovis and Deputy Andy, there just wasn't a whole lot here.
There isn't.
Love it. I went 2.
I went 1.5. So, damn, Tim, what's your final score on this movie?
11.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 11, and I have it over Chronos.
Wow. Okay.
I have it as my ranked 4 is what I got it at.
You know what? Screw it. Give me an 11 too.
Wow. I convinced you, huh? Well, I mean, You wanted to. I just gave you the excuse.
Pretty much.
But here's your problem.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at it right now.
It's tied with Hellraiser 3, so you have to make a decision on where you feel with Hellraiser 3. Because you loved Hellraiser 3. I personally have it over Hellraiser 3, but I also
you have it way above Hellraiser 3.
I have Buffy over Hellraiser 3, so I know you're upset with that one.
Yeah, that one's crap. That's a crap rating on your part.
I think it's mostly nostalgia for me.
I'm going to put it above Hellraiser 3.
Oh, wow. You don't think it's going to be recency bias? Should we revisit at the end, I guess?
Well, of course we will. But I like this movie more every time I watch it.
You own it. I don't think you own Hellraiser 3.
I do own Hellraiser 3 now.
Oh, you do? Now.
I told you that box set finally came through. Like 2 weeks after we did the episode. I'm like,
So that means as of now, at least out of our top 5, Sleepwalkers is the only movie we agree on.
There you go. Look at that.
We both have it at 11 points. We both have it 4th. So in our top 5. Again, Alien 3 and Dead Alive for us are swapped. Oh, no, my bad. We both have Army of Darkness 3.
Yeah, look at that.
I just have it at 13. You have it at 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sleepwalkers. So our top 4 is basically the same. You have 5 Hellraiser 3. I have 5 Chronos. So that's it's pretty close. Yeah. Our top 5 is pretty dang close.
So later on, when Mary is attacking the house, the sheriff makes a reference to calling help from Castle Rock.
Did it?
Yeah. Which is a famous...
I wish I would have caught that. Now I understand that reference. I would have understand that reference like 10 years ago, but I understand that reference now.
Which is a classic town in many Stephen King stories.
Yes. They did a whole show on it.
So I assume that this was originally written to take place in Maine.
Right.
Which would have made more sense than the Indiana that they place it at, considering when you're watching the chase scene, there are so many mountains in the background. Yeah. And that is something that Indiana just does not have, Tim. Nope. There are no mountains in Indiana.
Nope.
It is flat and boring.
It does have them pulled over by some farmland, but that's about it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say about that as far as like the miscellaneous. We already went into the Mark Hamill of it all. And
I have to say, like, what was this a short story of his or was it a full book?
This is not either. He wrote this entirely for the screen. This was his first screenplay that he made just for the movie.
Wow. Okay, more stuff I didn't know. I'm amazed he never went. I mean, I guess we both are. Why hasn't this property been revisited? Is it you think it's purely because of, you know what, incest? Not cool.
I'm not sure. It's a weird thing. Mick Garris talked about there was some scuttlebutt of possibly revisiting this. Yeah. But it never really got moving, and it's a mystery to him as to why there hasn't been more. Because it made money.
Yeah. And it seems like there is like a community for this movie.
Yeah, there is a little bit.
And gather, yeah. But I'm wondering if it's the incest.
Could be.
So it's real gross.
Into that too. Since this was Stephen King's first, produced just for the screen, thing he ever written, he had director and final script approval.
What about the movie he directed? Was not for the screen?
No, that was a short story first called Trucks.
Oh, okay.
And they originally went to Mick Garris, and they said, yeah, we might get you, and they hired somebody else, Rupert Wainwright. And Rupert decided to completely rewrite the script. And when Stephen King got word of that, he's like, nope, he's out. And then King told the studio, get Mick Garris. He did this Psycho 4, which is a direct-to-Showtime sequel, which I have never seen. It's the only Psycho movie I haven't seen, but it's supposed to be phenomenal.
Wow.
Which I'm not surprised because all the Psycho sequels are stunningly good.
I haven't seen a single one. Now you're really making me bad.
You really should see the second one especially.
That's what you keep telling me, yeah.
It's on Peacock. So Rupert Wainwright, by the way, is responsible for the Disney movie Blank Check.
Ooh. I saw that in theaters
when
I was young.
Tim, this is the highlight of his directing career.
Oh, no.
He made Stigmata.
I didn't like that movie. I saw that movie once, but I did not like it.
Oh, it gets worse. He did the Fog remake.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Bullet dodged.
Yeah.
He got some pub from just.
I do hate The Fog in general, by the way. Just want to put that out there to everybody.
I don't like The Fog. John Carpenter's The Fog. I think the remake makes John Carpenter's The Fog look like, I don't know, The Godfather. It is the remake of The Fog is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It's really bad. It's unfortunate because I do like my boy Soup's Tom Welling there, but that was,
there are a lot of good actors in that movie. It is trash.
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate choice. Like they took like everything that was like, even if like I'm a fan of the original John Carpenter's The Fog, I know you're not, but they like took what was the best aspects of that movie. It was like, let's ignore all of that. It's like, oh no.
Yeah. So this guy Wainwright got, I don't know, popular because he did some NWA. He did Straight Outta Compton music video.
Okay.
And MC Hammer's "You Can't Touch This" and "Too Legit to Quit."
big deal. Okay.
Yeah, big. They were very popular music videos. That was the way in the '90s. Become a music video director, and you can.
Yeah, some good stuff came out of that. So.
Yeah. So the budget of this movie was $15 million, which is a little under $39 million today. The worldwide gross was a little over $30.5 million, which is just under $67 million today.
Okay.
It debuted at number 1 in its first weekend of release, beating Basic Instinct in its third weekend.
Wow.
The only other movie debuting that weekend was Ferngully, The Last Rainforest, which debuted at number 5.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. You know what? I don't think I've ever seen Ferngully in its entirety.
Nor I.
Yeah, I remember it a lot on the VHS tape for Home Alone.
Yeah, is that what it was
trailer.
for? Okay.
That's what it was for, yes. That and a Pepsi commercial for that VHS tape. But yeah, played that a lot. Yeah, plus, Robin Williams will go on to do a much better side character afterwards. So
I think Aladdin came out the year before.
Did it?
Year after or something like that. Yeah.
Might have been close, I guess. Okay. Now
So,
investigate.
Next week.
Yes, your pick.
2, 3, 4. We only have 5 movies left.
Yeah, we're getting close to it, and I think there are a couple. There are 2 that I do not know, but everything else I do know, and I'm excited to revisit. So,
I actually hadn't decided before this.
Oh no! Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Okay. So I have decided.
Whatever you want, man. Whatever you want.
We're gonna watch Clear Cut.
Okay, that's one of the ones I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. It's about a white lawyer finds his values shaken when he is paired with an angry indigenous activist who insists on kidnapping the head of a logging company to teach him the price of his destruction.
And this is a horror movie?
Supposedly.
Supposedly. All right. It just doesn't sound very horror-ish. Interesting.
Yeah. Starring Graham Greene. As you will know him best as like the Joseph, the Indian chief from Maverick.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the indigenous activist. You
Yeah,
know this guy.
he's
You've
been
seen him
on.
in a million things.
Yeah, I've seen it in a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
So
But
honestly,
no, Maverick is what I would know the best, as I rewatched the movie a ton.
so just from that print point alone, like I could see this guy eat in a whole movie. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this movie.
He's really good, but I don't think I've ever seen him in anything serious off the top of my head.
Yeah, you have. He was in like The
Have
Green Mile and
Okay.
Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Dances with Wolves.
He was just in The Last of Us.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he breaks. They break into his house, and him and his wife are just like hanging out, and they're just like, "Just don't kill us, whatever, man." And they point him out to where his brother is, where the town is, and everything like that.
Oh, wow.
He's older now.
Yeah, wow, that was a good scene.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I like them. Okay. I'm down.
This is a long episode. All right.
This is on Freevee, Tubi, and AMC Plus. At least the last one we did the list originally. Still is that. So I am probably watching one of those free feeds. I don't know. So Clear Cut is our. All right, you got anything else to add here?
Nope, I got it all.
All right, that is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Apple Listen Show, also sharing this caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. Contact us by emailing filmbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for the hashtag filmbrochamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Film Bro Championship Podcast. Peace out, everyone.
I'm not taking the rap for this.